everybody, SONGOSHUAKU'S here, and welcome to the review/discussion for Dragon Ball Super Episode 127, The Approaching Wall, the Final Barrier of Hope. And joining me is TheLinuxVirus.
How you doing, guys? Sitting here sipping my orange juice, ready to get into this review.
He's got orange juice, I've got water, taking sips for the working man. That's a big reference to Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Oh, hell yeah! All right, that was like a messed up Vegeta that's like, got his me in the throat. He's being choked, but he's gonna still do it. All right, let's get into this review. I'm gonna start off with basically, at the beginning of this episode, we have Jiren. He powers up to his full power, finally. You know, about 3 minutes before the tournament is over here.
He's literally at the 3-minute mark right now, if not 2, because he was at 17 was at 4 minutes when Topo was fighting him before he went God of Destruction. So Jiren has to be getting close to like the last of those 3 minutes, if not 2.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I love this that Goku, Lapis, / number 17 / Android 17 in the Funimation dub. Both of them are in shock, and you have everybody in universe, everybody pretty much in the bleachers, you know, the power heat waves from Jiren's body shooting up all the way there. But Vegeta, he just walks up because he don't give a care, and he's like, with all your friends gone, you finally got serious. A late mistake to make. If we beat you, our last opponent, we win. And Jiren's all like, don't make me laugh. You can't beat me with those wounds. And Vegeta basically, it's a miracle. He instantly recovers his stamina. So much for all that stamina talk being drained. He just basically triggers his no-cell card and goes Super Saiyan Blue and beyond and yells, cocky bastard! And he charges straight at Jiren, and even 17's like, idiot, and both him and Goku go, and yeah, the action starts. Before we get into the action, what was your thoughts on the way this starts up? Especially with just like, did anybody just think how cool it was? Vegeta was the only person that showed no fear. He just walked right up to the Jiren, didn't even care. And bravo to Vegeta for pointing out what I've been saying all this time. Why would you wait till this long to power up?
I swear, throughout this entire tournament, Vegeta and 17 have been the best voices of reason
Exactly.
throughout this tournament. You can't argue with some of the logic that they've thrown in this tournament. And that is just another great moment of Vegeta as a character. You know, why did he wait? The guy's power is reaching the stands of the spectators, which we haven't seen energy from as strong as the opponents have been up to this point. We haven't seen anybody really reflect energy of that caliber since Jiren and Goku had that battle with the Spirit Bomb where the energy was compressed. So for him to be able to do that, you've been able to do this. Jiren, you don't have a lot of wiggle room here.
Yeah.
And there's 5 of them? No, 4 of them.
Right.
There's 4 of them left.
And like I stated on the last review, it's not about who can beat who. It's about what universe has the most members left on the team.
This is why I don't get the only problem I've had with this episode, the one problem I had with this is Jiren's logic for prolonging this. It almost feels like in typical DBZ fashion, they did very good with the character development this time around, but they screwed the pooch on the plot by putting this plot device in of the tournament having to end at a specific time, and whoever has more in their universe, they be the winning universe. Because when you get to a person like Jiren, He has all this power. He could have easily eliminated everybody in this tournament, I'm pretty sure by now. If anything, and once again, I pointed out, he wasted no time with eliminating Hit, but he prolonged eliminating Goku. I almost feel like Jiren's doing this just to test himself. And, you know, it's frustrating. I get it from Vegeta's standpoint. Why did he wait? But at the same time, I can't help but feel like I'm almost being teased into thinking that from a writer's standpoint. You see what I mean? It almost seems intentional that they want you to be pissed off that he waited this long to power up.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah. We're moving on here to the actual fight. So I'll give you guys the recap here, and I'm gonna be this whole thing here. Visually, it's
Squash
cool.
Match.
It's cool, but oh my gosh, you'll hear it in the way I put this out here. Okay, so all three of the warriors are able to hold their own with Jiren, despite Jiren being at full power. Jiren basically tries to kick Vegeta, but then after that, 17 pushes Vegeta out the way and takes the kick into a bunch of rubble that he's actually blocking, in which Vegeta responds, "Sideboard! I didn't need that! Jiren, you're mine to defeat!" Sure, you didn't need that help, Vegeta. Sure. So from there, Vegeta charges at Jiren with a barrage of punches and kicks, and Jiren sends Vegeta into a bunch of rubble. And then Son Goku, he does the exact same thing from the opposite side, and Vegeta then shoots Jiren with some blasts and launches a punch that Jiren blocks with his own hand, and he's like, "A good punch. I can see why you were able to defeat Toppo, but you won't beat me with that." And from there, Jiren powers up a punch, and he nails Vegeta right in the gut, sending him into more rubble, back down and he sends Vegeta back down to his normal form. From there, Vegeta elbows Son Goku in the jaw, then he kicks him in the gut, tries another power-up punch, then but Goku actually teleports out of the way and reappears. And this is one of the coolest parts, I think, of this episode. Goku charges up a Kamehameha, shoots it down to Jiren, and Jiren, just using the ki from his blast, does an uppercut, or for you Street Fighter fans, Shuriken, to the Kamehameha, and it travels through the Kamehameha, blows it up, and uppercuts Goku's in the face, sending him to the ground. Now, that was a good spot. I love some of the fight choreography that we've been seeing in Super. It has been tremendous. From there, basically, Jiren walks towards all the Saiyans, and 17 does a sneak attack with a ki blast from behind, and it causes battle damage to his back. I believe it was Belmont that went ahead and actually mentioned it, but this is the first time Jiren is wounded. Once again, a Jiren who is at full power is wounded by someone who barely had no other choice but to run against Hakaishi Toppo. Yeah, but this gets Jiren angry, and he's like, "Curse you!" And I like 17's comments when he's like, "The damage actually suits you," and Jiren's like, "Bastard!" I love that. So from there, Jiren he basically flies right through all of 17's ki blasts, but manages to 17 once again manages to escape despite Jiren at full power. Then you have Goku, who basically, after 17, he joins Goku and Vegeta, and Goku's like, "You really are impressive. Thanks to your attack, I know how to deal with Jiren. Looks like getting hit by an attack that big, unguarded, can hurt him." And this is what's going to lead Goku, Vegeta, and 17 to form a coordinated attack. All right, I'm gonna stop the recap from here so we can just break down this part of the action. Yeah, I thought visually it was stunning, but like I said at the end of last episode, you're telling me Jiren is at full power. I'm expecting Jiren to just run roughshod through all these guys. He should be dominating Goku, Vegeta, even in their strong Super Saiyan Blue forms or beyond. He should definitely be dominating 17. And yet they're holding their own with him. And I kind of thought the whole strategy was funny. It's like, oh, so we understand if we can sneak up on Jiren and he's unguarded, we actually might have a chance at beating him, despite the fact of his power. And, you know, going back to Dragon Ball Z, we always saw that in DBZ, no matter techniques and strategies really only mattered if you were on equal level, like that time Kruden used his Ki Enzyme. Yes, Kruden is an excellent martial artist, but Perfect Cell was so strong, the attack when it hit Cell's neck, it blew up because it just couldn't do anything. But then when Goku at Super Saiyan fights Cell in his perfect form, and yes, Cell was holding back, but they were at an even level of strength, that's when you start seeing strategies. Like Goku could use strategy to use like the instantaneous transmission to use a technique and catch Cell off guard. It's one of those things in Dragon Ball Super that's kind of, you know, it's nice that they are working on more strategies, but at this point it's kind of like, is that really gonna work? Are we really supposed to believe you catch Jiren off guard? That's how you're gonna beat him with attack? Maybe if you're on his level of strength. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this.
He wasn't even battle damaged. This is the thing.
They call it wounded.
Battle damage.
They call it wounded, but that's my thoughts.
Because
his
outfit got destroyed.
Yeah, that's my thoughts. It was hard for me to suspend disbelief that if Jiren's at full power, this is what we've been waiting for, and it's still a struggle? And how is 17 doing better against Jiren than he did with Topal? Oh, man. But the action was good. If nothing else, visually, it looks stunning. All right, before we get to the next part of the fight, I'll let you go from here, Linux.
So, okay, so there's a couple things in here. Like, 'cause I had the same thing you did, and, like, the exact same reaction you did. And then I had to take a step back and go back and rewatch it. And for the most part, I have to remind myself when it comes to Jiren, he's still in, like, observation mode. You know, I had to think about it. Jiren has been, from the start of this tournament, in sheer observation mode. He's looking for a challenge. That whole flaring of him powering up and everything earlier was just a hint at his real power, but he wasn't fighting at full power, and I don't think he ever will fight at full power at the end of the, like, he might go full power if Goku ends up going Ultra Instinct again. We might see the real power of Jiren, but that little flare-up that we got at the beginning of this episode was only a sneak peek. He's not fighting at that level. It's easy to tell he's not fighting at that level.
So basically what you're saying is he's holding back with
Yeah.
less than 4 minutes on the clock.
Yeah. And I'm almost wondering if he's doing it to see if he can take the hit from Zeno. Because remember, Jiren's wish, as we'll develop into this episode, revolves, and there have been hits in previous episodes about him wanting to be stronger. I'm almost wondering if, because we were trying to figure out, like, what is Jiren's wish? What is Jiren's wish? What is Jiren's wish? Why is he doing what he's doing? And then there's the whole mystery behind why he got so strong or how he got so strong. Which, we'll talk about that later in this episode, because that is totally ripped from One Punch Man. But oh my God! Don't even get me started on that. But you know, and that's exactly why you're laughing, because you know why I am simultaneously, like, happy and pissed off at the same time. But I digress. I honestly think Jiren is holding back on purpose for one of two reasons. Either he wants to see if he could probably tank the hit if his universe loses, or he wants to just, okay, there's enough time on the clock. It's 30 seconds. Let me show you what I could have been doing all this time. Vegeta eliminated, 17 eliminated, Goku eliminated, Jiren was the tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you, man. It's just one of those things, though. It's like, no matter which way you slice it, it leaves you the impression that Jiren really likes to live on the edge. He really likes to play it close.
Well, not even. I mean, that would be a problem if he couldn't easily equalize the situation. Come on now. He has a wounded Vegeta, a wounded 17, and a wounded and exhausted Son Goku.
Can we really use the word exhausted at this point?
There's a Frieza lurking around here somewhere too, folks.
Oh, we got plenty to say about that, though. What is exhaustion? What does it mean to be exhausted in Dragon Ball Super at this point?
To be fair, they kind of blown up that entire concept when they said Goku is, like, literally pushing past his limit on purpose.
Right.
Excuse me? I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball established way long ago, some time ago, that there were definitely a limit to ki. And I'm pretty sure by this point, both Goku and Vegeta, with the exception of 17, because he has unlimited ki, pretty sure Goku and Vegeta are tapped at this point.
Oh yeah, and I
specifically Goku. He's been in Kaioken times 20 for how long now?
Yeah, this is the longest we've ever seen Goku do Kaioken in the entire series history.
And even he said, and he always says this, the longer he's in Kaioken, the more damage he does to his body. So either Super Saiyan Blue literally is the greatest thing in terms of controlling and manipulating energy, or Goku is getting the ultimate, like, shonen power-up right now where no rules apply to him whatsoever.
It's whatever Toriyama and the writers see fit. Oh man. Hey, we're gonna go here to next part of this fight. 17 blasts his ki blast to Jiren, and then Goku and Vegeta attack Jiren. While they fight all over the place, 17 he's waiting for the opening, and then from there Lapis shoots a big ki blast that Jiren easily destroys. Obviously, Jiren then bursts right through all of what appeared to be like some barrier. It looked like his barrier, but it was some sort of green attack. But basically, Jiren blows right through it.
It was his barrier.
And
it was his barrier.
Okay, it looked like that. Yeah, like I don't know if he was trying to form a bunch of them, but all three warriors eventually blast Jiren at once. But Jiren forms this sort of fiery energy barrier, and from there he's able to overpower, sending Goku, Vegeta, and 17 all to the ground. And Goku and Vegeta, I believe, go back to their normal forms. Interesting that I noticed, and you see this a lot through the episode, when Vegeta and Lapis are hit with Jiren's aura or explosion wave, they do this thing where like I guess sort of the characters like disappear, sort of like with like their lines or something. This is sort of an animation they use to represent that the characters are being disintegrated. Whereas Goku, he doesn't get that. He just falls away in a blinding flash of light. So I always took that like they really are trying to tell us and emphasize that Goku is the strongest among the universe 7 warriors. Just a little attention to detail I was noticing. And then Goku's like, how could he beat our coordinated attack? Well, of course, he's at full power.
I'm about to say, Goku, nothing you've thrown at him
yes,
has
you should
worked
know.
Up to this point.
You should know.
Are you really
You've thrown everything,
this?
and you're not even in the form that you gave him the best fight at, supposedly. Oh, man.
And that wasn't even a fight. He shut that down with one hand. That's the problem.
All right, before we get to the Frieza part here, you have anything you wanted to say about the failure of these 3 warriors' coordinated attack? They thought they could really do it. They thought they had him, but they didn't.
That's just hilarious. Like, literally. And like I said, even the damage 17 did to him earlier. Goku, okay, this is where your naivety comes into play. You honestly thought just because he damaged his clothes that Jiren was damaged? There was nothing about Jiren that was damaged. You're talking about a man who took a final flash to the face and shut down Vegeta. You're talking about a man who deflected your spirit bomb with his eyes. His eyes! And you think 17, who albeit has proven to be way stronger beyond my expectation.
Oh, yeah.
You think that blast he did any amount of damage to Jiren? Really? Really? 100%. What? You expect me to believe that, Goku? Really? You? You expect me to believe? Okay. Okay.
This coordinated attack was just used to get Jiren's strength over, but it's like, yeah, I'm just sitting there shaking my head like, I know this is not going to work. But hey, once again, it visually looks stunning, so it gave us that.
And that's the biggest tell that Jiren isn't taking this 100% serious if he deflected all 3 of their attacks with his aura.
Exactly.
He didn't use his body. He literally stood there and flexed.
Yeah, that's all he does.
I cannot put
He's
that
a flex.
any more blatantly. He stood there, flexed his muscles, they all hit the ground. What?
But I tell you what, man, here's a surprise. I don't think he said "Koi" at all in this episode.
No, this was actually the first time I think he hasn't said it.
But he didn't really have to, because there was plenty. The Goku, Vegeta, and 17. They were coming to him so many times. So I guess he didn't really have to tell them to. All right, let's get to one of the. All right, you know how we last week we talked about it's sort of Vegeta's inauguration into that heroic role of Goku. Well, when one person leaves that role, you have to have who's gonna take the worst butt kickings now, and that officially is Frieza, man. So basically, Frieza, he comes in with a huge kick similar to what Piccolo did to him in the Namek saga when Goku needed more time to gather for the Genki Dama. So Frieza comes in, and I love shout out again to Ryusei Mikao for a tremendous performance, because man, Frieza brought his rage here. He came in, I won't let you lot beat me this much and get away with it. And Jiren basically kicks him to the rubble, and Frieza, he just goes ballistic.
The greatest line of this episode. It's so
he goes golden. Forget the damn rules. You deserve to be killed by me. Goes golden form, flies down, instantly recovers his stamina. Once again, that no cell recovering stamina. Goes golden. He charges a punch to Jiren, ready to kill him. And Jiren basically, it kind of shows you how serious. I think when Jiren uses his eyes, that's when he realizes he's up against something that could threaten his life. So he blocks it with his eyes. And I love the animation here for how the aura is blazing fast, but everything is just in still motion. He punches Frieza in the ribs, decks him in the face, sends Frieza bouncing above to the rubble, and then he bounces from another part of the rubble to the ground, goes to his final form, and Frieza is KO'd again. And rather than, just kicking Frieza off the rubble, because why leave him? Obviously he's no threat, but they leave him there because they're trying to tell us something, that Frieza is probably gonna have something to do with the end of this arc. We're watching, we're paying attention.
No, I can tell you exactly what's gonna happen, and they've been building it up. So remember how Frieza
Hold on. Before we get into what you feel is gonna happen, let me just say, wow, yeah, this was a tremendous butt kicking. I love the scene. Just the fact that just showing how much these guys have gotten under Frieza's skin, epically. And before you go into what you think's gonna happen, what was your thoughts once again seeing Frieza take another humiliating butt kicking?
I'm sorry. At this point, I'm kind of used to it. This is like I don't think anything that they do to him will ever be as worse as what Topo did. That was that nothing will be as brutal as that. But this was just pure comedy. Because this is a man. So we all know Frieza has probably the biggest ego in the Dragon Ball universe. That man. Frieza had to play second fiddle to somebody? That's unheard of. That doesn't exist. If it does exist, it must be destroyed. Frieza cannot take the idea of somebody being stronger than him and exist. He can't do it. He cannot function with the thought that there is somebody else stronger than him. Yeah,
it's really how we've seen all the fights where someone got better. It's how they all end for Frieza, whether it be Trunks, Vegeta, Goku, or Toppo. And now Jiren.
He can't do it. So the fact that he has to literally acknowledged the fact that, okay, Goku's stronger than me, he can't beat him. Vegeta actually was stronger than me, and he can't beat him. You kind of see Frieza is like, okay, no, enough of this. I refuse to believe he is this strong. You know, it's the point where his ego kind of kicked in. He snapped. He had enough. He's like, I refuse to play second fiddle. I refuse to acknowledge the fact that this man is this strong, that we cannot touch him. I am the strongest in his head in Universe 7. I'm going to take them down. That didn't work that way. And he got mauled for it. He got mauled pretty badly. But I honestly think this is Frieza's plan. They've been hinting at this for a long, long time. They've been hinting at this since he was brought back to life and acknowledged. I think he tells when Beerus blows away the Hakai energy from Goku. Frieza mentions he may be able to use this tournament to his advantage. Then there was the whole deception that he faced early on in the tournament of whether or not he was partnering with Frost or other universes to try and, you know, get rid of heavy hitters like Gohan and Piccolo and so on. So Frieza's always been on the fence, but if you've noticed something, Frieza, the way he's been moving in the tournament has been different. He hasn't gotten deliberately into any situation that would get him immediately eliminated. Instead, he chose to pick on the small fry for a reason. One, he was trying to conserve his energy, and two, he, you know, was just trying to torment people. He was trying to have fun, but he was also trying to pick off people. So that's the first thing. Frieza's been, from the jump, just trying to whittle down the numbers. Now, when it got down to the stronger opponents, if you notice, Frieza, once again, would take on the weaker opponents. He never deliberately attacked anybody that was almost a threat unless he absolutely had to.
You know, dude, to add to your point too, if you remember early on when he saw firsthand how strong Goku's Magate no Gokyui form and Jiren's strength was, I think he even said he didn't want to take on that monster Jiren. So you really see in that anger, he's forgot about all that. Plus, if he did try to kill and ended up killing Jiren, he would have been throwing away his plan because Zeno would have automatically disqualified him, and there you go.
I don't know about that. Zeno hasn't necessarily played by his own rules this entire tournament. I think the only one we've seen him enforce is anybody coming out from the stands.
You're true. He might have not got eliminated. He probably just would have been disqualified and sent straight to the bleachers. But the thing is, he intentionally actually was going to try. But
that's the thing. He didn't get disqualified.
Right.
He said it.
But my thing was, though, that I was going to say about it is that Frieza, he went from being so calm and going like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that Jiren guy, to, all right, you know, to hell with the rules. I want him dead. Yeah. Wow. You know, you forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's forgotten. I think he's doing what he needs to out of convenience. I think he's putting himself in these positions to where he's being kind of forgotten. And then once it looks like somebody is going to take out Jiren, he's going to inadvertently take them out to get his hands on the Super Dragon Balls. I think he's looking for that type of opening.
Nice, man. I like it. I'll definitely get more into my thoughts of what I think is coming in the future towards the end of this. But I'm gonna keep the focus right now on the stories. So we're gonna get to an episode, a big chunk of why when Toei Animation dropped the screen caps and we saw the spoiler. I was instantly looking forward to this. So Lapis basically blasts Jiren to catch his attention, and it's from here that 17 basically, him and Jiren are kind of talking, what do you want in terms of wish? And this is where we get 17, basically, I thought Belmont's reaction was hilarious. He says, I just simply want to go on a cruise with my wife and kids. He's like, you can't be serious. I loved it.
I forgot about that.
I thought that was hilarious. And Jiren doesn't get really much into it, but this prompts Belmont to tell the story of Jiren. So basically, we learn that Jiren as a kid, he came home one day and looks like his village was destroyed, and that as they call it, the villain known as Evildoer, Mr. Evildoer showed up and killed his
God.
parents.
What a jabroni ass name. I'm sorry. Freaking evildoer. Oh my goodness.
So, Evildoer, no, that's not his official name. He was referred to as an evildoer, but for obvious reasons, me and Linux will just go with Evildoer is his name until they give us further information. So, Evildoer in his shadowiness figure, basically starts Jiren off very tragically. From there, there's a man who comes along and adopts Jiren, and he becomes his trainer, and he basically teaches Jiren more about fighting as a martial artist and everything, and eventually Jiren meets up with a lot of other strong people, and they come together, and Mr. Evildoer shows up again, and from there, he ends up killing them and his mentor. So as a young teenager, Jiren once again faces a terrible tragedy, and Jiren eventually, after that, I think what's left of those people, they abandon him. So Jiren's now all alone. He eventually finds the Pride Troopers, and this is, I think, what Belmont says made him go to Jiren, because at this point, all Jiren had is strength. Nothing but strength and power. To rely upon. So before we get into the next exchange with 17 Jiren, I'll break down my thoughts on this backstory, and I'll let you go on it as well. For me, one of the things a lot of people for all of 2017 were complaining about Jiren. He's a boring character. He's generic, and I can't blame them those fans for feeling the way they did. But I was always like, I want to hold off and wait until we get some backstory and we go with this. So, my thoughts on this is that it's better than nothing. I'm glad we finally got some backstory, and I thought the backstory really tied into why Jiren is the way he is, how he got so strong with the people that surrounded him, why he clung to power. It explains why he has that serious and basically no personality at all. It does explain that, and it gave us something. Now, there's a lot of people in the fan base that feels this was too cliche, and after seeing Jiren, how generic they felt he's been, they just get a generic backstory, and they waited so long to tell this. I guess I'm sort of mixed. I'm neutral on the subject. I guess part of me, I'm just happy we got something. But I know a lot of people have compared it as well. I've seen the meme with they took
Batman.
Yeah, Batman as well. But they took Sasuke's hair and photoshopped it or pasted on Jiren's head and just put the Naruto sad music with it.
Oh my!
You've had other people say that this is practically every story we've heard, and just not just manga and anime or shonen manga. It's just almost every story we've heard in fiction. Period. And there's a whole thing too, like I've always stated, Jiren to me is just a plot device to get over Son Goku's Magate no Gokui form and just be the obstacle to overcome in this. So I also get the feeling with them waiting so late, I wonder, because I'm not sure the time frame for which this episode was animated. If it was animated when I'm guessing it was animated when they got the news that Super was ending. So with that said in mind, you kind of almost wonder, like, was there really no end game for Jiren to have this backstory? And after hearing the fan base complain so much that they wanted to know more about Jiren, they kind of just said, oh, we gotta throw something in there. And is it possible they picked a really cliche? And as our good friend GLG Yuhi / AV Doodles would say, there's nothing wrong with cliche. It's about, if it's cliche, it's about the execution of it. So like I said, to me, and on top of that, I know if we compare it to villains and antagonists, it's really hard to put Jiren in that antagonist state because at the end of the day, he is a good guy fighting for his universe or own personal. We'll find out later on. So he really is never going to be a villain, even though this arc is trying to make him out to be the villain. But at the end of the day, I could say, overall, now looking at where we are, there's nothing that really stands out too much about Jiren. He's just strong and powerful, but he doesn't have that awesome of a personality. His backstory, it is cliche. Not saying that there's anything wrong with it being cliche, but when you don't give us other features of Jiren that would help him stand out, and you give us a backstory like this, it's like, yeah, I can understand why a lot of people they're done with Jiren because that's what we waited for all this over a year for. So yeah, I guess that's how I am. That's how I feel overall about it. Based on everything I said, I just feel like it's better than nothing. But yeah, it doesn't. His backstory just reinforces to me what I felt from the beginning. He really is just a plot device to get over Son Goku's Magate no Go Kiwi form, because at the end of the day, this arc is mostly about I guess you could say, a swan song for Universe 7. With that said in mind, I'll love to hear your breakdown and analyzation of Jiren's backstory, because I know you are definitely big on backstories, Linux. How did you feel about this one, especially since we don't really get too many backstories when it comes to Dragon Ball? So, what's your thoughts?
There are two things that I think you forgot when it comes to this introduction to Jiren. So there are three big mysteries around him. One, how did Jiren become that strong? That's first and foremost. Two, what is his wish? Because they've hinted at this. I think they've hinted at it twice now. And then three times if you count the manga version, where Belmont actually shows up because he knew Toppo would fail at convincing Jiren to join the tournament. Belmont's the one who convinces him to join because he says his wish will be granted. Which, note, he specifically tells Jiren this because the Super Dragon Balls are on the line. The ones that can grant you any wish, regardless of stipulation. So, that's two. You got Jiren's wish. And then three, the biggest mystery behind Jiren is there's been this talk of giving up something. And he says this specifically after Vegeta beats Toppo. He says, you who defeated Toppo without giving up anything, congratulations. So that's been hinted at as well, that there's been this removal of something, removal of self, removal of a part of self in order to get more strength. Okay. Now we have these three things revolving around Jiren. Two of them actually get addressed. One of them doesn't. I'll start with what the answers we do get. So first off, the one blatant answer that we get is why Jiren became that strong. Okay, Jiren became that strong because he was scarred by the evildoer who ended up taking his family and eventually even taking his friends and mentor from him. What they don't tell you is Jiren never beat him.
Yeah, I did forget to mention that. But I'll get into my thoughts on that. But go ahead. I did forget to mention that.
Jiren never, in that flashback, they never state Jiren beats him. As strong as he is, they never state Jiren meets him again after that second encounter. They never state that Jiren is able to beat him. They never even state that Jiren is strong enough to beat him. Jiren never defeats the person that took everything from him. So that's one. He got that strong because apparently whoever did this to his friends and family, so this gives us an idea that there's somebody stronger than Jiren. Because he's getting that strong for a reason, and he's seeking to get stronger for that reason. You see what I mean? He's never beaten the person who took his family from him. So that's one. That's the reason why Jiren is as strong as he is, which also segues into why Dragon Ball Super can continue just based off of that. That opens up that doorway. The other thing is this removal of self. They also state that after Jiren loses, you know, the family, the second family that raised him, so his mentor and his group of friends, not only does he want to become stronger, but Jiren casts aside all of his emotions. This is why he is the way he is. Because Belmont goes on to explain that the only thing that Jiren became concerned with is strength. He said to Jiren, strength was justice. It was absolute. There was no gray area. There was no weakness. With strength, it was like it brought about people, but him not caring about them, him not being attached to them, him not having to worry about it, didn't give him any weakness. It just gave him a reason to get stronger. So he kept his will for justice, I guess you could say, but he got rid of his care for people. This also kind of coincides with why he treats Topo and them so coldly, even though he doesn't want to see them get hurt. This also can coincide with why Jiren has such, what we've known up until now to be such a dry personality. Because we've never really seen him show emotion. We've seen him show hints, like get like slightly annoyed or whatnot, but we've never seen Jiren overtly angry like Frieza. We've never seen him concerned. We've never seen him, you know, happy or joyous or anything. He's always just kind of stoic. And with that being said, he cast that aside just to get stronger. And I think that goes back to, once again, what he said to Vegeta. He tells Vegeta, you know, you who cast aside nothing to get rid of Topo, well done. So I think what Jiren's hinting at, I'm almost curious to figuring out what his wish is, because that's the only thing that they never touch base on. And I think Belmont was going to say it, but they specifically, in the anime, in this episode, they have Jiren say, Belmont, that's enough. And like the bitch he is, Belmont, shut the fuck up. But
you know, I've been wondering that too. The way he talks to Belmont, I'm really wondering, like, is he stronger than Belmont? Because, like, wow. I know in the manga he said he's a Hakaishin in retirement, or he's about to retire. So yeah. And, you know, man, just to go ahead and add on, when you think about it, not since Chi-Chi have we seen a character that has made Son Goku so afraid at times, and Vegeta, the amount of pride this man has, for Beerus to be so strong and Vegeta to revere/fear his power so much that he would dance like a buffoon doing raccoon poses and throwing on an apron to fix Beerus's food. Man, you know Beerus is definitely packing some serious power. So when you see Jiren on the opposite side telling Belmont, his universe's Hakaishin, to shut up or be quiet, and Belmont does just that, you gotta be like, wow, yeah, who's the stronger one between these two? Hey, you know, I was gonna say too, that is interesting. Part of me is wondering, like, two things. Part of me wonders, did they just, is because, as I mentioned, Dragon Ball Super, by far, from its resume, you will not find the King of Explanations on there. So part of me is really wondering if they just put, you know, Evildoer in there as basically just a way to not really elaborate on what happened, as a way to, I guess I'm trying to say here, did they put that in there, saying that the evildoer and being so vague with its the person's appearance, because they don't really tend to follow up on it. They just needed something there to just tell a story and get out the way, and they're not going to follow up on it? Or are they really planting the seeds, in which I do hope they are planting the seeds for something later on down the line that could actually play an interesting role? But the only thing about that, if it is, and I hope it is the second option, if it does go down that route, I'm gonna be wondering though, like, if there is a being stronger than Jiren in Universe 11, then why didn't they recruit him? Now, obviously, maybe Jiren would not be able to stomach working with this, but I guess I'm just too caught up in the fact that Goku acquired Frieza to help them out, and that's how desperate they were, or maybe Belmont thinks Jiren was strong enough. So you kind of wonder, I guess that's one thing I will wonder, if they do bring up, why did they not try to recruit this? But then maybe he's stronger than both Belmont and Jiren. But yeah, I do think it is interesting that they did leave that open, and hopefully it is something that plays a role down the line. So overall, would you say you like the backstory?
I'm curious to see where it goes. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's the only thing we're gonna get. I feel like these next couple of episodes we're gonna get snippets. I feel like Jiren's gonna open up the closer it gets to the tournament ending. I feel like we're going to get a lot more insight into him, especially in this next upcoming episode, because it seems very heavily centered around him and Vegeta.
Oh, definitely. We'll definitely get to that.
I think we're gonna hear a lot in that episode. That one's gonna hit home probably a lot.
So you hold off your judgment until you see the full end of his backstory.
At least these next two. I got a feeling these next two episodes are gonna unload a lot of information that we kind of have needed / been wanting for a very long time.
Well, hopefully they can put a good amount into if 4 episodes left to go, because I know a lot of people feel like Super's getting really rushed at this point, and honestly, the animators and the writers had no choice but to. Alright, so moving on with the episode here, guys. 17 basically tells Jiren, he goes like, "Hey, you're a pretty human guy too." And after that, 17 blocks Jiren's blast, and while he's blasting, he goes like, "So, you were just using those guys to your own ends. You lived obsessed with the past." And basically Jiren tries to hit 17, and 17 dodges once again, even though Jiren's at full power.
17 is a god of destruction. I'm just gonna call that right now.
You might as well at this point. And then from there, he basically 17 goes like, "Looks like I hit a nerve," and Jiren basically grabs Lapis by the face and sends him through more rubble. Man, Broly's moves have really, I think the animator, you got some really hardcore Broly fans with the animators or whoever's in charge of the choreography. So basically from there, Jiren then punches 17 into more rubble, but 17 comes back and he collides fists with Jiren, even though once again, Jiren's at full power. Okay. Yeah, I guess obviously Jiren, he really is holding back at this point. So from there, 17, he has some really interesting dialogue where he goes like, "Do you think you can make things like the way they were if you win? That you can bury the past?" And Jiren says, "Ridiculous," and then tosses 17 to the ground by his arm. From there, Jiren then gets on some rubble that's higher up in the sky, and he goes like, "Strength is absolute. Strength forgives all, even the past." And then Jiren, he fires a huge, I guess you call it, like I like to call it, death ball of destruction. And Goku and Vegeta are in the background, and 17's in front of them, and he uses a barrier. And what 17 ends up doing is somehow 17, once again, he's able to form a barrier strong enough to hold back full power Jiren's little whole giant death ball of destruction here. And he tells Goku and Vegeta, he says, "Hey, Son Goku, Vegeta, I gave up the cruiser." And then he shields Goku and Vegeta with his own barriers, and he basically, in his final moments, Lapis says, with a smile on his face, he says, "Sacrificing myself for others. I kind of like how human that is." And then, in a moment of blazing glory, 17 blows himself up with a key explosion, and basically sacrifices himself, uses that power of his explosion to hold back Jiren's attack, and it basically ends up saving Goku and Vegeta. And the Grand Priest announced, and you could tell with how devastated 18 was, the Grand Priest announces that because 17 blew himself up, there will be no penalty for Jiren, and 17 is eliminated. And this was the shocker to a lot of people. My initial, well, I'll finish up the episode from here. Vegeta basically stands up, and you have Jiren, who, Jiren is harsh here. He says,
"You were saved. Be grateful he sacrificed himself to protect your weak selves."
Hold on, wait. I just thought about it. Did he say that word for word?
yeah, he said that.
Holy crap.
I'm like, wow.
So
was savage.
Jiren called 17 stronger than Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wait a minute. Yo, I'm done.
It's crazy. But you know what? I you know what? Well, let me finish. I'll finish up with the episode. So Vegeta stands up, normal form, and he basically is now going to challenge Jiren.
Holding the classic left shoulder of Vegeta.
Yeah, I saw. You saw the meme. Like, Vegeta should really get his arm checked out. I think the only time we got a reasonable explanation for him holding his arm was when Juhachigo broke it. Other than that time, it's like these explosions.
He's always holding that arm.
These explosions, like you get caught up in these big explosions, and they seem to really like nail his arm or his shoulder.
Maybe it's when he falls after the explosion. He just always falls on his left side.
Dude, I know you're a fan of this. Do you remember in the Tenkaichi games, everyone had their battle damage stance? That was always the stance they had Vegeta in.
He'd always have the sand on his left arm.
Oh man! So the episode ends with us, the narrator, letting us know that Jiren, basically letting us know that there are 3 minutes left, and from there, the episode ends with Vegeta saying,
"Don't underestimate me,"
and that's how we end. So the ending of this episode, when I saw it, I admit I was shocked. My jaw dropped. I was like, "Wow, well played, Super." Well played, because I instantly thought back to the end of Dragon Ball Z, and I remember we do not see, and apparently I believe actually roughly and it's kind of messed up plot hole right here, but we are about 3 years away from the ending of DBZ. So Goten, Trunks have some major growing up to do, and Cruden is going to age horribly from 3 years. Like, he's so young now, and the way he's ages in 3 years. But I digress. That's another subject for another video. So yeah, we're roughly about 3 years away from the ending of DBZ, and I'm like, yeah, I was like, well played, Super, because we actually do not see Lapis at the end of Dragon Ball Z. So if they wanted to, they could make this a permanent thing and really play with our emotions. That's why I'm like, I'm halfway in the emotion. I'm like, at the end of the day, we know everybody gets wished back with the Dragon Balls, and it's just really harsh to think that 17, his wife and kids, who we still have never seen and only been hinted at, I wish he would have mentioned them in his dying moments. It seemed more about just giving Goku and Vegeta time. So, but I guess, I don't know if they'll ever go there.
It's because he knows that he's gonna come back.
Right. He's like, you guys got me with those Dragon Balls. He's
like, I won't be here to make the wish, but you got me coming back, right?
Yeah, I see a lot of people are very emotionally infected by this. Like I said, I'm once again, I'm neutral. If 17 is going to stay gone because we don't see him at the end of Dragon Ball Z, then yeah, this will hit hard. And it is really cool seeing Toriyama. Like I said, while I don't agree with the explanation for why he got this strong, it's really cool to see Toriyama and the writers give Junagano so much, just so much of a, let's do some wrestling terminology, so much of a big push. Did not see 17 making it this long. But with that said in mind,
I did. Favorite character.
He's probably obviously going to get wished back with the Dragon Ball, so I can't really get into that.
Exactly.
But I can't really get into that. But it was a cool moment. It really was a cool moment to see. What was your thoughts on the ending of this episode, especially as a big 17 fan?
Shocking, but So can I just say, shout outs to Dr. Gero for making those self destruction devices
Oh, are you
that
gonna
damn
be like
strong.
everybody who thinks that's what it was? Shinlong
No, that's exactly what it was.
Shinlong
That's
removed those back at the end of the Cell saga. Those were
No, he
key
didn't.
blasts. Those were key. That was
No,
generated
he
from
didn't.
Keen. Yes, those were removed.
No,
Go back,
he did.
watch
No,
and read
no,
it.
no, 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 no. He didn't remove those. He removed 18s because she was
He
alive.
said
17 wasn't alive.
Cruden said both 17 and 18. Remove it from both Juhachigo and Junagano. It was purely key blasts.
No. That was that explosion.
Go back.
Nope.
Go
Dr.
back.
Gero got
look
that
at
tech.
it. You're gonna be
Dr.
those
Gero
fans.
got
You're gonna
that
be
tech.
those fans. There's a lot of fans that thought that was the explosion, and no way, Doctor. Are you gonna tell me Dr. Gero actually created an explosion from those type things that would be able to stand up to someone who's beyond a Hakaishin and Jiren? Nah, I'm not believing that.
To be fair, 16, when he grabbed Cell, had Cell terrified of that bomb blowing up.
No way it was that strong,
exactly what I'm talking about. Cell did not want no parts of that self-destruct.
It was key base, and we know how strong 17's gotten way stronger, where he could produce a key explosion much stronger than what Dr. Gero could ever do. I say Dr. Gero, it's how to pronounce in Japanese version. Gero for those who watch the Funimation dub.
So you mean to tell me? No. So you call a 17 stronger than Vegeta? Because the
We're gonna get into power scale, and we know it's all kinds of messed up in Super.
No, yeah,
it's all messed up in Super. I'm not trying to hear that. It's all messed up in Super. And yes, I would agree. It is ridiculous that Vegeta. Well, honestly,
Super Saiyan Blue breaks the rules. Super Saiyan Blue breaks the rules. If that's the case.
The power scaling in this, though, this episode did make it seem like 17 was stronger than Goku and Vegeta. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It did. That's the crazy thing about it.
And we just watched a whole cat and mouse game between him and Topo.
But he was able to take hits from Jiren. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, 17 is officially as strong as Super Saiyan Blue. There's no arguing this. There is no arguing this.
Well, we saw it in the training. Well, hey, dude, I would recommend you go back and watch that episode. Read the manga. Watch it. It was both.
No, I said it as a joke.
Oh, okay.
I said it as a joke.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the entertainment factor there.
It's funny. I just find it hilarious that he was able to produce that much energy when Vegeta did it. It didn't even kill Topo. It was just strong enough to knock him out of the ring, and 17's was strong enough to nullify Jiren's energy, which I'm pretty sure if it would have hit the stage, it wouldn't have killed Goku and Vegeta, but it would have destroyed everything for them to fall.
Yeah, what's going on with the stage, by the way? It's half of it's got wiped out, and there's floating rubble, and it's like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's not in one piece. None of that stage is in one piece.
What is your thoughts, too, on this as far as Jiren goes? Like, I be honest, as far as Jiren's full power, granted, I'll admit, after I've seen Zamasu, his very being, the essence of him, take control over an entire multiverse, an entire timeline, and I see Zeno come and wipe that out. Those are the two greatest feats of strengths we have ever seen in the entire history of Dragon Ball. So that's why I'm almost like at the point, does it really matter that we haven't seen Beerus at full strength? Does it really matter that we haven't seen Whis at full strength? We know the angels and gods are nowhere near the Grand Priest, and apparently I believe Zeno is stronger than the Grand Priest, or maybe there's some more hidden powers there, however that goes, but we know for a fact the gods, the angels, they all pale in comparison to the Grand Priest and Zeno. So when we have that power, it's like, yeah, Jiren's doing all these incredible feats, but I'm like, it fails compared to what we saw at the ending of the Trunks arc. So that's one thing for me right there. But just getting to just the power skeletal, the characters that are in the Tournament of Power, was not impressed with Jiren's full strength.
Fused. I think actually though, not gonna lie, and I think I actually did see this on Daisenshu.
Well, the website got renamed to Kanzenshu a while ago, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Go on.
Because I think people were doing comparison. I do believe Zamasu fused with Black is technically stronger than Jiren if we were to compare them. I think, yeah, that fusion is actually stronger than Jiren, if I'm not mistaken.
See, Super Saiyan Blue Goku was able to
Which
overpower
technically would mean
him.
Trunks is stronger than Jiren.
Well, I knew, obviously, at the end, it made Trunks look, yeah, he destroyed the body of Vegito, and we know Vegito's on a whole nother level. In the manga, it actually states Vegito might be stronger than Beerus.
Yeah, I was about to say, no,
Vegito...
Yeah, I was about to say Vegito's actually was stronger than Zavasu. He just burned through his power too quick to destroy him. But
you
yeah,
know what?
and that's his own fault for prolonging that fight.
Well, let's save that for our later video down the road. On this episode, though, the thing about it is I was not really impressed with Jiren's full power because I'm like...
He isn't using it.
It's just like...
There's nothing for you to be impressed by. He's not using it.
Yeah, it's just like... I was hoping like I'm going to power up to my max, but I'm still going to hold back.
This is a rare case in which it's no different than Frieza versus Goku for the first time. We all thought Frieza was at his max power when he was fighting Vegeta, and that clearly was not the case when he started fighting Goku.
Yeah, we start seeing more of it. I guess what I would have personally loved, because when I first saw they were going to do the backstory for Jiren when those first screenshots were leaked by Toei, I'm like, oh, okay, I hope we get like 5 minutes of him just whooping the crap, Broly style out of all these guys, instead of putting up this tremendous huge fight. And because, honestly, Goku, it feels like granted he has Vegeta's help with him, but it feels like Son Goku has done pretty well at Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken in what we assume would be a more exhausted state than he did when he was fresh as Magate no Gokyui. But with that said, I wanted Jiren just to run roughshod through all these guys, and then we get like 15 minutes telling a really good backstory of Jiren. But like I said, I'm fine with the backstory we got because I just wanted something. But overall, I see basically you think Jiren's holding back, and at this point he probably is. With that said in mind, let's talk a little bit about the next episode. Woo, Vegeta fans, it's gonna be a tough watch.
You're doing that to provoke me, but it's okay.
But we all knew it was coming down to this. I gotta do it one more time. The pecking order. It is Vegeta's had his fun. We knew that Toppo, how he finished Toppo was gonna be the big one. So Vegeta's gonna go down like a warrior. Obviously, I mean they're not even hiding from it. They blatantly tell us what's gonna happen. Vegeta falls. It's in the title.
Yeah, I'm about to say they tell you he's getting eliminated.
Yeah, his normal form.
Don't play with my emotions.
Yeah, they got a big. His eye is swollen. It looks like he's just gonna fight in his normal form. So Vegeta in his normal form can still put up a fight against Jiren. Or obviously Jiren. Jiren's still holding back with I think what will be like two episodes left. And I already know the title card for the next episode, so we already know.
Mastering.
Yeah.
Ultra.
Spoilers
Instinct.
for anybody who's listened to this point, but I think, come on, is it really a spoiler? We all knew where this story was going. Goku is going to master Magate no Gokyui form. So this is going to be very reminiscent of Vegeta fighting Kid Buu as Goku tries to gather the remaining amount of energy he needs for the Super Genki Dama. We've been down this road. It's, like I said, it's been the reason why I made the pecking order jokes in Dragon Ball. Goku, the final hope. Vegeta gets beat, but he goes down like you know, in a blaze of glory. We all know Vegeta's tough. We all want that big moment. And believe me, I think it would have been much more interesting to have Son Goku in this form, in this state where he's in his normal form and it's going to come down to Vegeta. But hopefully maybe we'll get it eventually sometime in Dragon Ball. I will say this. I think Toriyama has given us a lot more than I think we would have expected initially from Vegeta. So it'd definitely be grateful for that.
About damn time.
Another thing that was interesting in this episode, and it's since we actually recorded this the Thursday after this episode was released, Bulma appears in a flashback in this episode, and unfortunately, as I'm pretty sure you're well aware of, Hiromi Suru, she passed away unfortunately last year, voice actress for Bulma. So a lot of people were expecting we weren't going to see Bulma at all. Now, word has actually come out today that Aya Hisakawa will be replacing Hiromi for the voice of Bulma. Now she's very well known as Sailor Mercury and Sailor Moon, and she's actually provided some of the voices, such as Chico and Dragon Ball Z Episode 16. And she's ironically has provided the voices for Bulma's daughter and sister, respectively, Brawl and Tights. So she's definitely familiar with Dragon Ball Z. I did hear her in the commercial, which I believe is her voice in the commercial, and I thought she did a pretty good job. Obviously, Hiromi Suru could never be replaced. She is the OG when it comes to Bulma. She laid the she definitely paved the way for all Bulma voice actresses around the world. I believe Aya will definitely do her justice. But interesting enough, as mentioned today, Hiromi Suru's voice will be used in this episode, as I believe it was recorded before her unfortunate untimely death. So this, unfortunately, sadly, will probably be the last time we hear her voice in Dragon Ball in the anime. And I know you can hear her voice in Dragon Ball FighterZ, so I wanted to mention that as well, because I wasn't sure if they were gonna hold off for when to bring her character back. With that said in mind, what are your thoughts on the next episode preview?
You know what? This is the first time I'm speechless. I just want to watch it. Because I feel like this one might actually tug on some heartstrings. Not even if you're just a Vegeta fan, but just as you as a person. I feel like this is going to be a very, very hard episode to watch. I don't know why I feel like that, but I feel like this episode is going to really be a difficult episode to watch. I almost feel like
it's gonna gut
like
check
that.
us all in the fields.
Yeah, no, I feel like we're gonna get something very similar to when Frieza put him down for the first time.
Oh, I hope not that brutal.
That exchange he had between Goku and him before that final blow, I'm almost willing to bet every last dollar we're going to get something that if isn't the same caliber, it'll be worse.
You know, it looks more like, if for those of you, I don't know if you're a lot, especially younger fans out there that might be listening to, if you're familiar with the movie Kuhan Luke or even Life, there's a scene in there where Paul Newman's character and they mimic that too with Eddie Murphy's character, where they get beat down in the fight and they lose, but at the end of the day they kept coming right back. And I kind of get the feeling that this episode's going to be more of that. It's going to be more so not Vegeta getting brutalized, but he's just going to keep getting knocked down and coming back up. So I think they're going to really have Vegeta go out in a very heroic way here, a very that type of way. I think Frieza's was more of just a brutalizing of the character.
You're more optimistic than me, because I think Vegeta's actually probably going to catch it the worst.
You can't get much worse than Frieza.
No. Actually, you can. Did you see his face?
Oh yeah, I know we've never seen a bruise like that.
Yeah,
Outside
Frieza
of
Fate didn't
we've
look like
seen it
that.
in comedy spots, but this is a serious, legit fight. So,
Yeah, Frieza didn't look like that. So, no, the reason why I think it's gonna be worse is because Vegeta, if anything, is what Jiren probably at this point views as ultimate weakness. He's not willing to cast anything aside. He's willing to hold on to foolish things like pride in Jiren's eyes. So this would be one of those, what I think are going to be one of those reality call beatings, one of those reality check type of beatings where Jiren is going to beat Vegeta or try to beat him into submission before he actually, takes him out of the tournament. And that's why I said I think this is going to be worse than when Frieza took him out of commission the first time on Namek.
Yeah, it should definitely be a very interesting, rather well-written episode of Dragon Ball Super because the writer that wrote episode 112, Yoshitaka Toshiro, is the one who is writing this episode. As I mentioned before, he did episode 112 when Kaba reached Super Saiyan 2. That was a very well-written because he tends to get a lot more deeper with the way he writes the episodes of Dragon Ball Super. So I definitely think it should be a very well written one. And I think it's going to be one of those things like, yeah, at this point it's cliche in Dragon Ball for Vegeta to get beaten down and Goku come in for the save. But hopefully it's a very well written episode, and it'll be one episode that will allow us to see Vegeta go out with some dignity, definitely. And with that said in mind, I think we've wrapped up pretty much everything needed to be said about this episode. I'll get into my last little thoughts about where I think Frieza's going to end up in this episode. As we know, the big showdown is coming down with Son Goku in his fully powered Magate no Gokui form taking on Jiren. I really see this fight ending, I think I came to the conclusion, one of four ways. One, and I think it's going to involve Frieza. One, Son Goku and Jiren eliminate each other, and Frieza, just by being there or laying on the ground knocked out, picks up the cheap win. Two, Son Goku will get eliminated by Jiren, but Jiren will be so battered and beaten and exhausted by the end, Frieza picks up an easy win and eliminates Jiren. 3, Goku and Jiren both beat each other so bad, they both are battered, exhausted, and beaten, and Frieza decides to pull a fast one and eliminate them both, because at this point, what does he have to lose? He gets rid of his arch nemesis Son Goku and Jiren, and everything's left for him with the Super Dragon Balls. Or 4, which I think might be shocking, and you might not like this, what if, like, say Goku's forming a big final Kamehameha wave and Jiren's attack is about to hit him, Frieza sacrifices himself for Son Goku, and the biggest twist that no one sees coming, the biggest swerve, he sacrifices himself Piccolo style, and maybe before he blows up, he says things like, maybe he rather sacrifice himself for the universe that he's been a part of than to know that, hey, he's just gonna die at the hands of Universe 11, and don't wish him back because he'll come back for revenge to sort of maintain some of that evilness. And we never see Frieza again. He's dead permanently this time because his body's destroyed, and Son Goku picks up the big win with Jiren. Those are the four
Frieza
possibilities
would
that
be dead to me as a character.
That's why they would do it, because he's not gonna come back, and this is the way they're gonna get rid of it. But who wants Frieza to go turn into a good guy? But it'd be the ultimate way to swerve. It's like, I don't think no one would see that coming. But those are realistically the 4 ways I see this whole arc ending, and it's all going to involve what Frieza's going to be the sole survivor. I don't know if they got anything really planning. We'll have to see if Dragon Ball Super ends on a cliffhanger. Before we wrap up this, do you want to shine in? Do you pretty much agree with me that's the 4 ways that this tournament is going to end, or do you have any other alternatives that you might see, or you agree?
No, I agree with you with everyone except for that last one. That last one I think seems a little too impractical.
Yeah, but I just brought it up if they want to swerve us.
But no, I do agree that Frieza in one way, shape, or form is going to play a huge part in this final outcome.
Right.
I honestly think it's going to be a combination of Goku and Jiren are going to be fighting, and it's going to come down to the wire. They're going to be exhausted. They're probably going to hit each other with a final blow. It's going to end in a stalemate, and then Jiren is going to forget that Frieza was knocked out. And the Grand Priest, when he calls it, is going to call it in favor of Universe 7. And when he does, and Belmont asks why, Frieza will probably wake up.
Oh yeah, that was the fifth possibility I was thinking of, was Goku and Jiren just fight and go to distance, and they just mentioned that, hey, Frieza's still knocked out over there, which is gonna make Jiren look like the biggest idiot in this whole tournament.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I have.
I think that'd be too cheap of a way, though. We really need something dramatic to finish this off.
No, I could definitely see that happening.
But yeah, it could happen, though.
Because what's going to end up happening is that Jiren's not going to die. Goku's going to wish everybody back.
Right. Yeah, we know everybody has to live for the end of Dragon Ball
Goku's
Z.
going to wish every universe that was eliminated in this tournament, he's going to wish that they were back so he could fight them again.
At least Universe 6, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to wish that they were back so he can fight them again. So, it's not like, yeah, you really think he's going to let somebody like Jiren die? Absolutely not.
I'm really interested to see too if this if the ending of Dragon Ball Super will tie in to the movie coming out in 2018, but I think we can talk more about that as we'll have on towards the end of the last episode. But last thing I have to say, do you feel at this point the ending episodes, while I think they've been very dramatic, do you think Dragon Ball Super at this point feels rushed, or do you think it's moving at just the right pace? Like, I feel like, is it really worth 20 minutes of human time for us to watch Vegeta get beat up and then go to the final battle? Like, hey, let's just get right to, because at this point I am kind of ready, like, let's get right to Goku and don't play with our emotions and stuff as Vegeta fans. Just let's get right to Goku and Jiren. How do you feel?
No, I feel like for where it is now, especially for the circumstances that tended to arise after that, I think it's in a good spot. I don't think it's being rushed.
Okay.
Could it probably slow down a little bit more? Yeah. This could drag out for probably another 8 episodes, but I know they only have like a couple more slots. No, I think it's moving at an okay pace. It's not the best, but it's not the worst.
Cool. Yeah, I actually am fine if it looks like Goku and Jiren's fight is gonna go about 2 episodes. Hey, I'm actually cool with that. Some of my favorite fights going back to Dragon Ball Z were like 2 episodes and a half. Goku versus Kid Buu, or Son Goku versus Majin Vegeta. So I definitely think we've had some of the best Dragon Ball fights. Piccolo and 17. We've had some really awesome 2 episodes or 2 episode and a half DBZ fights. So I just think as long as the animation and everything and the whole fight is really cool, and I'm expecting, I hope we can, at the end of the day, we can look back and see that this is one of the, at least from a action standpoint, one of the best fights we've seen in Dragon Ball, and Super can go out with a big bang. But with that said in mind, I hope you guys enjoyed what I believe was close to an hour and 20 minutes of our discussion / review of Dragon Ball Super. We will be back with Dragon Ball Super episode 128 for another review / discussion. Linux, the floor is yours for plugs.
Hey guys, if you enjoy this discussion and review of Dragon Ball Super, definitely continue to support this channel. If you wanted to follow me in what I do from a gaming standpoint, I actually am playing Dragon Ball FighterZ really heavily as of right now. You can check out my YouTube channel at TheLinuxVirus if you just want to see more tech or anything as far as what I'm doing from a competitive gaming standpoint. You can also check me out on Twitter at TheLinuxVirus, and follow me on Instagram at TheLinuxVirus.
And you also will be able to see the Linux Virus portray the villain in my upcoming short film, Battle of Deception, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And here are the remaining of my plugs. So if you obviously are a fan of Dragon Ball, shonen manga, or anime adapted from shonen manga, make sure to check out my upcoming short film, Battle of Deception, as it's based on those types of genres. I currently have lots of videos such as the teaser trailer and the behind the scene interview videos right here on my channel. channel, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified as soon as I release more content regarding Battle of Deception, Dragon Ball, and even WWE if you are a professional wrestling fan. And make sure to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, both at SONGOSHUAKU. All links will be in the description below. Take care!